The world of Athos is unforgiving. 130-degree days give way to just 30-degree nights. The vast wasteland offers little in the way of resources to merely survive, let alone prosper and create any kind of living. Mountains jut from the barren land like spikes in a pit trap. Most days go by without the hint of a cloud in the sky. The great sea of silt threatens to grow and consume what little havens the people of Athos have made for themselves. The ever-present is the sun, its dark core haloed by the burning ring that seems to singe the very crust of the world. Athos is dying. Hi, this is Raeven with Sheri's Bag of Holding. I'm going to be doing a campaign diary video on this channel for a little while, recapping each week the adventures of Sheri's party here at our home game, and we hope you follow along with us. So for our cast of characters, we have Sheri's character, Vess. She is an Aasimar warlock. We have Aaron Morrow playing Inigo, the human archer. Bree will be playing Blankish, the half-elf fighter. And yes, everybody painted their own miniatures, which were all printed on my resin 3D printer. Jeff's character will be playing the female tabaxi known as Mina. And finally, we have our niece Kylie playing an Aarakocra cleric. And yes, she did a very good job painting this miniature herself. So with that, let's get on to session number 1. Most of the desert wasteland that is Athos is ruled over by sorcerer kings, great wizards and powerful sorceresses who years ago defiled and destroyed the world long before anybody alive remembers with their magic, sucking the very life from the planet. They now rule what's left of it in small city-states spotted around the world on oases. Each one considers themselves to be a god or godlike. Most people of the world are enslaved or lead hardships or just die in the desert trying to find a better life. All except in the city-state of Tyr, where they have finally overthrown and killed the sorcerer king, Kalik. Now, like moths to a flame, many people from around the world flock to Tyr, hoping for a better life, a new world. Most will not find it there. With so many refugees piling in, the resources are stretched, and the Templars, still loyal to Sorcerer Kings, attempt to form some sort of order. The head of the military has taken control of the city. Most people have no place to stay, no food to eat, no water to drink. It is not a haven. For 3 of our characters, the former soldier, Blankish, the human archer, Inigo, and our warlock, Vess. They came for the same reasons that everyone else did, and found nothing there. Needing to escape from the city and find prosperous elsewhere. They hired on as caravan guards for an elven family led by the father, Caldris, and his 8 children. They loaded down their kanks, these large insect-like beetles, giant rhino beetles, which are the beasts of burden, with ceramic wares and other stuff to sell in the week-long journey to a small outpost known as Altaruk. Him and his family aren't fighters, and they hired on the three to protect the caravan and lead them to Altaruk. A many days' journey. As they began to travel along their way, they found that travel through the desert for the elves was of no burden, but for them, it was a very good hardship. They had to persevere through, trying to keep up with the family, looking ahead for just outside of the mountainous city of Tyr. There are no roads. The roads are washed over with sand almost daily. The ground is hard. It is a rocky terrain. They kept pace, though, and kept the Kanks moving, and within a couple of days had begun to make their way from the rocky barrens to the sandy wastes. Each night they would set up camp and form lookouts, and it was during these first few nights that the other adventurers noticed that Vess, the warlock, had no need of sleep. She would stay up all night long, pondering over her tome of spells and itching her back shoulder for some reason. On the second night of their journey, while discussing what they might do when they reach Altaruk, Vess and Blankish witness a small starlight in the sky creep through, grow brighter and brighter until a great flaming fireball was shooting across the sky. Within seconds it seemed to curve and boom, a bright, brilliant flash of light just over the horizon, not far from where they camped. They discussed possible outcomes and decided to bring it up to Cauldrus and see what he wanted to do. Being a man who needed to feed a family and care for his tribe, he said they should investigate and see what riches or spoils might have fallen from the sky. The archer, Inigo, decided to stay behind and protect the family and the Kanks, while Blankish and Vess moved ahead. Sorry if I'm pausing occasionally, I'm still trying to remember their characters' names. Just about a half a day's journey from their campsite, traveling in the desert roughly in the direction that they saw the light. They eventually come across a long, blackened stretch of sand that's been thrown up in a great trough, leading to a large crater. Sneaking up on it, at which the bottom of it held a strange, oblong, cylindrical object. They also noticed some sled trail leading to the crater. Bandits use sleds. Crawling up and peeking over the edge, they see down below that bandits have indeed already reached the smoking crater. 5 of them. 4 of them seem to be engaged in a battle with another lone, strange-looking figure, while the leader of the group seems to be tearing away at this oblong rock that fell out of the sky. They decided they were going to sneak in and help out this strange, cat-like creature in a odd, shining suit, fighting off these 4 other bandits. But were spotted immediately. And as they were, they rushed up, Vess throwing her Eldritch Blast, which she can disguise, because magic in this world is not looked upon favorably after it's sucked the life from the planet. But she disguises her magic well, as if it's a psychic blast. And Blankish runs up with her hammer and starts to pound away at one of the assailants. And they look over and the bandit captain is just ripping these colorful ropes and strange green and copper boards out of this rock. Fighting valiantly, unfortunately, the cat-like creature is knocked unconscious by one of the bandits. Seeing this happen and knowing the time is short, Vess' eyes begin to glow a little bit slightly, and a spectral hand reaches out and smacks the bandit captain right across his face. He turns to look at the glowing magical hand and screams, "Magic!" 2 of the bandits are immediately fallen by the hammer of Blankish. The other two race over to grab the sled and get away. The bandit captain drops to his knees and begs for his life. They take the colorful ropes and tie him up. Rushing over to aid the cat, they see that she's just rendered unconscious and are able to bring her to in a few minutes. She looks upon them strangely and does not recognize them. They ask who she is, and she says that she is a wanderer of the skies, that her ship was destroyed and she jumped in an escape pod and landed here. Not understanding her words really, but knowing escape pod, escape, and marooned, they ask if she would like to join them back to the caravan and make their way to Altaruk, where she might be able to find assistance. And she agrees. They then look at her craft and go, is that metal? Metal in the world of Athos is rare. Very few have metallic weapons, and those that do are of very high station. She says, yes, that is. Mostly composites, but a lot of metal, including the ropes that they use to tie up the bandit captain. Just then they hear a beep, 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 faster and louder. It appears the bandit captain has triggered the auto-destruct mechanism of the spacecraft. Just getting out of the crater, it flares up and vaporizes itself, being mostly composites and plastics. Now stranded permanently, the cat creature, Mina, has no choice but to travel with these two unknowns and their captive back to the caravan. Along the way, a discussion is made that Vess the Warlock has displayed magic, and the bandit captain saw it. Perhaps he should not be allowed to live. Vess says, well, if we take his tongue, then he cannot speak of such. And as the discussion goes on and they are not paying attention, suddenly they hear a slide and look over, and down the hill the bandit sled comes flying into view. The bandit captain, now out of his bonds because they wanted the precious metal ropes, runs and jumps into the sled and hurries off down the distance. They give some slight chase, but the sled is just too fast. Now with their new companion, Mina, Vess and Blankish make the half-a-day journey now again back to the caravan. They discuss with Caldrus what to do with Mina, and he says more is welcome. He can't pay her when they get to Caldrus, because he's already offered what he has to the others, but she's welcome to their safety, for it is still many days before they reach Altaruk. Happy to oblige, Mina joins the group, and they continue their travels now across the rocky wasteland, or the sandy wasteland, in their southeastern direction towards Altaruk. A few days later, they reach the twisting maze of the Badlands, the last leg of their journey. Towering cliff walls in a maze-like path. The road winds between the rock faces, and the adventurer's skin begins to tingle. Someone or someones could be lurking above them, behind them, in front of them, and they would never know it. They walk for several hours, listening to the echoes of their own footsteps bounce back to them in unpredictable patterns. And without warning, a band of desperate-looking humans descends upon the caravan. Caldrus shouts, "This is what you were paid for," as him and his family hide and crawl under the kanks for protection from using their chitinous hide to block. Most of the humans appear to be unarmed, dozens of them up above on the cliff, but there are 4 or 5 that have throwing chakras and just begin to fling them down at the party. Jumping into action, Inigo smiles. He's missed the last battle, but now he's in his element. He pulls forth his bow and fires one arrow directly into his assailant. You hear a scream as he falls off the cliff 40, 50 feet down below. Taking a cue from that, Vess goes, "I got this," and Eldritch blasts the cliff face just below the other assailant. He too loses his footing and falls, the sickening crunch of his neck as his head hits the ground. Mina the cat goes, "I will take the fight to them." And using her long claws, she immediately just scales straight up the wall at a full run, jumps up, and pulls out her metallic sword. Everybody awes in amazement as it bursts into flames. And they scream, "Magic!" And most of the unarmed humans run off, afraid as she cuts down one of the assailants. The last one throws his chakras to the ground, and all the humans begin to run away, realizing they are far outmatched, thinking this was just a simple caravan that they could take the food and supplies they need for their survival. But it was not to be. Back down at the insect-like Kanks, Caldrus and his family thank them for doing their jobs and protecting everyone without any harm. They look around and realize that most of them were freed slaves from the city of Tyr, just trying to make a better life, but not really knowing how without the skill and the trade needed to do so. Finally, making the last couple of days of the journey, the Kanks are a little on edge from the attacks, and the adventurers have to comfort them and urge them to continue on in the right direction. The family also is shaken a little bit, but they've come to expect such things being caravan traders. Unfortunately, they don't make it there in the 3 days needed and have to stay one extra night just outside the city of Altaruk. That night, Vess watches as one of the sons gets up and heads off. The next morning, they're like, "You are missing one of your members." Caldrus says, "Yes, since we are an extra day out now because we stopped to look at the fallen craft of Mina. I sent him on ahead into the city to let them know to set up the shop so that we may sell our ceramics and get you paid faster." Everybody agrees as they're packing up the camp that today should be a good day. And we end with the party entering the gates of Altaruk and heading down the road to the Elven Market. What adventures will tomorrow bring? We shall find out.